And tonight, the left continues to demonize WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark. One USA Today writer claiming she puts black, in her words, queer WNBA players in danger by what she described as flopping, in which she wrote in part, quote, "It seems there is a white nationalist faction to Clark's fandom that is deeply, deeply problematic, made even more so because the WNBA is made up predominantly of black women, and again, her words, many of them queer," when Clark claims fouls that don't exist. Now, when she goes on profanity-laced tirades at referees, those racists see her as a white woman in need of saving and taking matters into their own hands. And added, quote, "It shouldn't need this reminding that this country has an awful history of black people being harmed, even killed, in the name of defending white women. The irony of the WNBA's All-Star game is that it's happening in Chicago this weekend, and the hometown of Emmett Till, who became an icon of the civil rights movement after his tragic murder. The local art gallery is currently hosting an exhibit imagining his life if he hadn't been lynched. While it's incumbent on the WNBA to do more to protect its players, there also should be an expectation on Clark to recognize the broader implications of her actions being, quote, weaponized. Now, she did sort of apologize, stating in part, quote, "In my recent column, I made an inartful comparison with the murder of Emmett Till. I intended to connect the issues the WNBA is currently facing with its All-Star game being hosted in Till's hometown of Chicago. I obviously did not provide enough context for that. However, this point stands. There is a history in this country of perceived threats to white women being weaponized against African Americans and the danger that poses to black players in the league." Now, still the issue of aggressive flagrant fouls against Caitlin Clark, like the one you see right there on your screen, that has continued from the day she entered this league. It has not stopped. Here with reaction, the host of the Riley Gaines Show. Riley Gaines is with us. First, your general reaction. And, you know, I happen to watch a game, and you know that Sophie Cunningham, you know, refused to back down. She's standing by the right to defend women's sports. Both play on the same. They're both phenomenal players. They have both helped grow the league and its popularity. What does that mean? That means attendance is up. Well, what does that mean? That means more money. What does more money mean? More money for all players in the league. More opportunities for, you know, commercials for all players in the league. Why does the brutality against Caitlin Clark continue?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. If the league was smart, if their goal was to success, right, in terms of profiting, any business, any organization, any league, that would eventually be the goal, right, to profit off of this. They would lean into Caitlin Clark, into Sophie Cunningham, who are the golden geese. I think for a while, Caitlin Clark was the golden goose. Sophie Cunningham is right there with her now. Her teammates love her, people love her, young kids love her. I saw a video of her over the weekend with, I think it was at a kids camp, and they're all doing the viral pointing meme. But the league, Sean, is not smart. They don't care about profits or merchandise or revenue because they subsidize off of the NBA. Now, to speak to Nancy Armour, who is the USA Today journalist, and I say that in air quotes because she is not a journalist. Nancy Armour has no credibility. She is overly woke, entirely biased. The journalist who wrote this piece about Caitlin Clark, who in the world even reads USA Today anymore? I want to know what the editorial process is that allowed for this piece to be published, because to link Caitlin Clark's basketball ability and her skill set to the lynching of Emmett Till, I mean, even after reading the piece, I couldn't understand the connection that she was making. There is absolutely zero credibility or systematic evidence that Caitlin Clark's fans have been found to be racist or inciting racist attacks. USA Today, I really do believe, was borderline creating a defamation lawsuit here via Nancy. And so I hope we see Caitlin Clark push back or at least speak to this, because it's absolutely insane and defamatory in my eyes.
You know, I was watching a game. I was watching Caitlin and Sophie. And by the way, Sophie standing by her remarks to protect women and their right to be, you know, protected in sports and women's sports. I loved every bit of it. So I watched them both. Forget the three-point line. They can shoot and hit three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer from 10 feet behind the three-point line. I mean, they're phenomenal basketball players. That's only good for the WNBA. You know what? I don't know. If people want to turn it into this, it's going to turn fans off, push them out of arenas, and they're not going to attend anymore. You keep pounding on Caitlin Clark, you know, and frankly, being so overly aggressive to her. I don't know why. That's going to turn fans off. And here's what's going to happen. That's less opportunity for every player in the league. Good luck with that stupid strategy, because they'll pay the price.
Yeah, the WNBA, they have begged for attention for years, and the second they get it, they fold. So much so, in mentioning the viral pointing meme, the WNBA Players Union will not allow brands to monetize Sophie Cunningham's point due to rules against, like, profiting off of, you know, player conduct from a confrontation between our members. So my response to that is, of course, the bitter, maladjusted women in the WNBA would conspire to sabotage and tear down the league's one of few normal, attractive women, and that is Sophie Cunningham. She's beautiful, blonde, tall, leggy. She's tan. She's like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model now. UFC ring girl at that. So if basketball doesn't work out, she's got quite a few other side quests going for her. And so my advice to her, they've made a point now where the league can't monetize off that viral pointing moment, but Sophie Cunningham still can. So Sophie, monetize it. Make the shirts, sell the shirts, whatever she's selling, I'm buying, because she has that effect. I think when you have someone very similar to President Trump, actually, where you just really don't care. And Sophie Cunningham said it outright. She said, I don't care what people think about me. I'm going to stand by my belief. So much so she just posted a photo on Instagram saying, I said what I said. That was the caption. When you have that sort of mentality, you really become uncancelable. The left, they will certainly try to cancel her. We've seen it online following her comments, but I think the remarkable thing about Sophie is she will not allow herself to be canceled because she's not going to cave. That's how you do it. Enough with the groveling apologies or, you know, I'm going to take some time to educate myself. Enough with that. When you don't allow for yourself to be canceled, you can't be. And Sophie Cunningham and President Trump, quite frankly, is proof of that.
I got to give credit to Indiana players, you know, African Americans, Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark. They all seem like a really great team, and they all seem to love each other. It doesn't seem to be a problem within the team ranks, and that to me is very important. It doesn't matter who the star is. If the star is Magic Johnson, then the star is, you know, Michael Jordan. It doesn't matter. People go to see the most talented people, period. Riley Gaines, thank you. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.